All right, we're here on the PGA Show floor at the Power Tee booth with a legend in golf instruction. Arnie, Phil, legends and PGA Tour stars of the game have all gone to this guy. It's Rick Smith joining us here on the Course of Life. Rick, how you doing today?
Great to see you, my friend.
It's great to be here and see you out here as well, too. You've been a figure in golf instruction for a long time. You were doing golf instruction in Golf Digest before the age of the internet. Tell me how instruction has evolved in these recent decades.
You know, it's amazing. When I always pictured back then, you know, when we didn't have the internet, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have anything other than our little phone that couldn't even do a camera shot, right?
I know.
So, but in my head, I always thought that it'd be great to be able to do live instruction, streaming instruction. Now those things are starting to happen, but the technology side of things has changed so radically, you know, in comparison to what we had. I mean, from you look at simulation, you look at launch monitors, you look at this tee that's teeing balls up in the air. I mean, none of this existed. So it has been exciting to see how technology has helped grow the game somewhat, you know, because people are more interested in the game.
Absolutely, and you've been with the trends for your entire career, and I appreciate seeing you out here on the show representing this brand as well too, and talking about the legends of the game that you work with. Obviously have to mention Arnold Palmer. We're right in his neck of the woods down the street from Bay Hill. I know you've had some amazing moments working with him. What are your biggest takeaways of seeing him and how he works on his swing when he practices each day?
When Arnold, the funniest story I have, and you know, God bless him, miss him, he's a friend of everyone's, but I'll never forget, we were at Inverness for the PGA Championship. It was 1993, and it's Jack, it's Lee Jansen, it was, I think it was Billy Andrade and Arnold Palmer, right? So I'm out there with Jack, and then Arnold goes, Rick, he says, I'm not hitting my long irons very good. Would you mind having a look? And we're out on the 7th hole at Inverness, which if you tee off, you know, it's a beautiful hole, stream to the right, uphill green site, and he drives it in the middle of the fairway, and I stand behind him because he's going to hit a 2-iron. And I stand like this, and I'm watching him swing, and I see his little move. Ball goes up, and I'm kind of seeing a pretty good-looking shot. Well, all of a sudden, the crowd goes crazy. The ball goes in for a 2. And he turns around and he goes, well, how about that? And I go, oh, we got to change everything. Yeah. And I start laughing. He starts laughing. It goes in for a 2. It is a practice round. I said, Arnold, I don't think you have a problem with your long irons. And he just goes, where in the world's that been? You know, so it was fun. He used to also go to Treetops and come up and play in the par 3 shootout years ago. And he would just say, what am I doing? I'm not hitting it good. And it was just fun working with him. He was always tinkering, and whether he was redoing a grip or he was looking at a certain key in his golf swing at the time, it was always fun.
That's awesome. And you mentioned Treetops, and you bring up an awesome piece of Golf Channel and reality TV history that you were a part of. Right. What's your favorite memory from that first season of The Big Break there at Treetops?
It was amazing to see the competition and how important it was to the players. And the players were so nervous. I mean, I had guys look at me in between the shoot, and they're next to play. They don't want to be eliminated. And one guy's like chain smoking, and he's going, I don't know, I'm going to have a heart attack. What do I do? And it was that significant to these guys because they knew this was a big potential chance in their life. So that's what I remember the most, is how real it was and how sad it was when the guys left. And everybody had their favorites. So the show was popular. It did really well.
Years later, after the fact, I ran into Randy Block at a movie theater in Southwest Florida. How about that for a small world, huh?
Unbelievable.
Isn't that great?
He was a good player.
One of the other legends that you worked with is Phil Mickelson, who obviously people would love to know a little bit more about behind the scenes. But I'm curious, when he's tinkering with his swing, we always know him as such an analytical guy. What was the give and take process and feedback like working with Phil?
Well, nevertheless, he was such a feel guy. He was also an art guy, where his length of swing, we didn't try to change that, but we tried to create better body structure so where his leg work wasn't as good as it should have been. And I think recentering him, and with his center, he would drive his legs, fall back, flip a lot, and we got rid of that. And I would always make sure, even if his swing was long, that it was on plane, because his tendency was, at least back then, he'd get a little steep, then he'd fall back and kind of flip it. But the guy had the best hands in golf. So when you have a guy very feel-oriented like that, you have to be sensitive to the fact that, hey, we all know there are a lot of ways to play, but he mastered things with his hands, and he never got rid of that. So, which I'm glad. Tiger also said that. He said, you know, he's had different swings, but he never lost his hands.
Very well said. Again, we're here at the Power Tee booth here at the PGA Show. I'm sure you're probably a vet of the PGA Show. What are your thoughts about being here and seeing the really expansive and added crowd I've seen just from this year to last year?
Oh, yeah. No, you know, golf is doing great. I mean, obviously, I'm real happy that, you know, during that COVID period, we saw this surge. and all of a sudden, we're always saying, is it going to die down? It hasn't. And people love to play. They love to play better. So they're looking for the edge, and we all are. Everybody is. And so whether it's with technology, with pressure plates, or whether it's with, you know, different swing aids or things that can help them, they're looking for ways to get better. And so I think the game's in a great place. And I think no matter what, with LIV and the regular PGA Tour, they'll figure out how to hopefully merge and make it work, you know, because there's some great players on both sides, and they have to, you know, just respect that. So it's part of our change in our life, you know, and competition is competition.
Absolutely, yeah. In terms of efficiency with practice in this Power Tee setup, I know you're all about creating the most efficient practice session you can. Tell me what Power Tee does to help that.
Well, one thing for sure is I had a ton of elbow, wrist, hand injuries from hitting off a standard.
I'm working on that right now. Yeah,
Destroyed.
That golfer's elbow.
I mean, I couldn't, you can't play for months. So what has happened is we brought this down to my golf performance center at Durrell, and I haven't felt anything in my elbows. I haven't felt any. So they've mastered the actual material when you want to hit it off the ground. And the tee system has been great. I've used it for teaching, where people have poor levels, where their body's moving down or they're moving up. And when this ball, you go to a low height, like they do have it right there, it's a low height for the iron, you can really work on that and strike it in the center. If your levels are bad, you won't. But what happens is when you finish your swing, and you're balanced and you're looking this way, you come back and it's right there again. So then you really develop really good rhythm.
Creating repetition.
And repetition that is the rhythm side of it, you can really groove something good. And I loved it for awareness of your body and balance and awareness of the strike. So when you play golf, and that's one of the things that I've seen and why I like this so much with a Power Tee, is that when you play, you know, people hit balls. I call it the rake. They rake it over. Hit, rake, hit, rake. This is more like golf, where you strike it, it's gone, and you come back, and the ball's in front of you. So you're not doing the rake deal. So you're learning kind of to say, hey, wait, one shot at a time. This shot's the most important. And then when you go play, what do? You hit a tee shot, you go find it, and you hit it right away. So, and you don't have that rake. The ball's not there. So I like that. I like that it's creating a little different part of your routine, which is very good.
Taking the rake out, love it. Shout out to Power Tee and Rick Smith. It's the Rick Smith Golf Performance Center. Now, we love to end with our 19th hole question. So my question for you is, when you have a great practice session, you figure out what you need to, and you go back into your favorite clubhouse, what's your meal and drink that you like to order in the 19th hole?
Well, if I've had a good day, I'll have a Tito's. With a little splash of raspberry lemonade.
That'll work.
You can't get that. I call it the R.C. Smith special. It's a good drink. And I love a good cheeseburger. How do you not love a good cheeseburger, right?
Burger and Tito's?
Olympic Club, they have the hamburger that's sliced like a hot dog, and they put it in a hot
dog. Yes.
So I mean, no, there's some cool burgers out there. I love them. You can tell right here. I gained a little bit of weight.
He's enjoying his burgers. Rick Smith, legend of the game, joining us here on the PGA Show floor.